How are we getting on, people? I hope you're all okay. Luke here, back with another Sunday Sessions video. If you're new to this series, what we do here is we go through some of the markets that we are looking at trading in the coming week. We break things down, show you our analysis, and give you guys areas and regions that you can then go and implement and add to your own analysis, and then hopefully profit with the LAGFX team. I have got 4 pairs that I am looking through in this Sunday Sessions video. We have the XAU USD market, the Great British Pound to the US dollar market, the Euro to the USD, and the AUD to the USD. As I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fly through my analysis, give you some zones and areas to work with, and then hopefully you guys can implement that and integrate that into your own analysis and profit with us this coming week. If you do go on to enjoy the video, please leave the video a thumbs up. All the support you guys is very much appreciated. Now, without further ado, let's jump straight into today's Sunday Sessions video. Okay, so as you will see on screen, we have the XAU to the US dollar market. You'll see that price has actually been putting in some bullish structure as of recently, producing us with clear higher highs and higher lows. What I am wanting to see is this bullishness continue into this point of interest that I have highlighted here. If you guys haven't got this point of interest highlighted out for yourself, by all means do so. We are looking at 1937 to 1959 region. We want to see price tap into this zone, penetrate this zone, and deliver us with some kind of break of structure to the downside. Why do we want that? Because I believe that there is enough supply sitting in this zone to actually flip that supply and demand balance. With us being delivered with a break of structure to the downside, we can then look and wait for some kind of pullback into a fractal supply zone where we will be then able to actually get introduced into this market with sell positions. So you'll see here that I've also got a demand zone highlighted out. If you want to highlight that out for yourself as well, by all means do so. This is just a valid demand zone that I have managed to find within my analysis that I believe will interrupt price once it does go bearish. So we may see some temporary bullishness being introduced when we have a penetration of this zone. This is probably just going to initiate a fractal correction before continuing in this bearish momentum. Now, I've set my take profit target, or I will set my take profit target, should I say, for the 1784 region. The reason why I have done this is because this marks a higher time frame structural low. As you know, I like to set my take profit orders just above or just below structural highs and lows, as this guarantees that our take profit is going to achieve. By us having our take profit just above this this actual structural low, if we believe that this market is going to continue in this bearish momentum when it does break down, then realistically this structural low should break to go on to create a new lower low. So with us having our take profit set just above this, we can guarantee that our take profit is going to be achieved and we will walk away with equity gains. So that is my analysis for XAU USD. Bullish market at the moment, but I am predicting that this market is going to go bearish once we have the penetration of this higher time frame point of interest. Okay, so moving over to the Great British Pound to the US dollar market, we have seen price just tap into this demand zone here. This was a demand zone that I was looking to actually get involved in buy positions from. We did get involved in buy positions. Unfortunately, we got stopped out. I just set my stop loss just too short from this actual demand zone. As we can see, we got caught out here from this sweep. So this is just the market's way of basically manipulating buyers and sellers, and also taking people like myself out of the market. So if we just set our stop loss slightly lower, then as you can see, we would be in some good profits at the moment, but our risk to reward ratio wouldn't have been as great as it was. Now, what are my predictions for this coming week? Well, I do believe this bullishness is to continue. Very similar to the XAU USD market. I'm wanting to see price trail up into this higher time frame point of interest that is holding supply, and I'm wanting to then see price break down and start trading us bearish. So very similar situation to the XAU USD market. As you'll notice, both pairs have a quote currency of the US dollar, hence why they are moving in the same direction, and they share very similar structure as well. So what we can do actually is we can look to buy into this market before we sell longer term. So if we look here actually on the 15-minute time frame, I have actually seen, and I can see a last sell to buy region that holds validity as a potential area that we could look to buy from. This box here just highlights this last sell to buy candle, and we can see that there is some inefficient structure above this. Now, price has come to clear that inefficient structure, but I would like to see price continue breaking lower, tap us into this zone that I've highlighted here, and then deliver us with that bullish leg. So if you want to highlight this zone out for yourself, by all means do so. The increments to this zone is here on the right hand side. Now, what would a position look like? Well, it'd be very similar to this one. So we would want to set our entry point somewhere at the top of the zone. As soon as we have rejection and price continuing in this bullish way, then we would look to enter. We could set our take profit at the previous structural high, or if you wanted to stretch your take profit out, we could do, and we could set that just below the higher time frame supply zone. Our stop loss, however, would be set a few pips below the actual zone itself, just so we can avoid being swept out like we did here. So our stop loss, we have 7.5 pips here. I would say let's give ourselves 5 pips worth of breathing space. As we can see, we've got a 12 pip stop loss, and we have a 165 pip take profit, giving us a risk to reward ratio of a 1 to 13.69. So that's a brilliant risk to reward ratio. We can really look to gain some great profits from this potential position. Once price then does penetrate into this zone, I am thinking that price is going to then start trading us bearish, where we will then be looking to get introduced in those sell positions longer term. Again, having our actual position very similar to this one, just in the opposite direction. Okay, now moving over to the Euro USD market. As we can see, price has tapped into a fractal supply zone that I have highlighted here. I am expecting price to continue bearish, tapping us into this higher time frame potential buy zone, this demand zone that I've got highlighted. As we can see, it highlights a last sell to buy candle. So I'm wanting to see price continue trading us lower, tap us into this zone, and then reverse the market and continue trading us in this bullish direction, which it has been doing for some time now. So if I just get my path tool out, what we want to see here is price has obviously penetrated this zone. That's brilliant. We want to be delivered with a break of structure, this being the last structural low, a break of structure to be delivered, the creation of a lower high, and then we can look to get involved in this market. I'll be looking to get involved at this lower high here after we've been delivered with the confirmation that structure is breaking down to the downside and that bearishness is underway. So my entry would be somewhere around here like this. Stop loss just above the structural high created. Take profit set just above this actual demand zone that I've got highlighted. Once price then taps into this zone, delivers us with a break of structure to the upside. That is then telling me that price is now ready to go on and take its next impulsive wave higher. That is when I'll be looking to get involved in those buy positions longer term. So we want to see a structural high get created, a new higher low to get created, a new higher high to get created. Then we have had multiple lows and highs created to the upside. I will then get involved in the following higher low, giving us a refined entry. Stop loss obviously just below the structural low that's created, and our take profit could be set at these highs here, guaranteeing that our take profit is to be achieved. Finally, moving over to the AUD USD market, very similar situation to the Euro USD market. We have just seen price tap into a last buy to sell region. Again, I'm wanting to see price start to break down now. I'm wanting to see price trade us into this buy zone where we can then look to place buy positions and ride price higher. So I've also got a supply zone here that price could potentially reverse from. But my main interest is this potential buy zone. So if you've not got this potential buy zone highlighted out, I definitely recommend you do so. We have been delivered with a break of structure to the downside on the 1 hour time frame, and we are now seeing price react well to this supply zone that I've got highlighted out here. So I want to see price continue to break us down into this potential buy zone, and then we can look to get introduced in those buy positions. Again, take profit set just below these structural highs here. This guarantees that our take profit is going to be achieved. Our stop loss would be set just below the zone or below the structural low that is created. Okay, so that is going to conclude my analysis for today's Sunday sessions video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I have been quite quick and quite brief. I just wanted to give you zones and areas to work with so you can go and implement them to your own markets and your own charts, and hopefully profit with the LAGFX team this week. We placed 2 crazy positions last week, which did very well. So if you haven't seen those, join the Learning Lounge group chat and check them out for yourself. Or alternatively, follow us on Instagram. You'll see that those trades have been highlighted on our page, so go and check them out. What I'm going to do now is pass you over to James, and he is going to run over some of the markets himself.
Right, everyone. Hope you have enjoyed Luke's analysis so far. I'm going to be starting off here on the euro to the US dollar. So starting off on a higher time frame, because recently we've seen something quite relevant happen in this market, such that we've seen this supply zone getting penetrated. So for the longest time, the bias was the expectation that we were going to trade back up, tap into this, see the reversal, and even shorter term, we were waiting for those breaks of structure to start breaking us down, to trade down, but we had a small reaction, but not a full move away. So as of right now, because we've penetrated this zone, the expectation is likely now that we are targeting one of these 2 zones higher. Therefore, it would indicate that we are going to remain bullish for quite a while. So if we now just go down to a slightly lower time frame, and we can then view that better, we can see how we have just liquidated the high. Looking through, there is a fairly clear sell before buy that we can see price has actually fallen into before reversing, before making that move higher. The expectation was beforehand that we would resume bearish, continue having supply and control until we came down to hit some of these demand zones lower. Price didn't manage to do that. Slightly misleading due to the volume that was introduced on the downside in this region. Nonetheless, we've liquidated, we've moved higher. So we are going to move now to the bullish side and start to identify different demand zones to get involved from. So next image will depict this. As we zoom in, we see 2 clear zones I've identified that we'd like to see price react to before making any moves higher. This is the lower of the zones, a very clear sell to buy once again. Exact same thing in this region. Just hoping to see price now give that pullback, give that correctional wave, tapping into these, seeing the mitigation of that order, introducing enough demand to then see price take off. And because we know, looking from that first photo, the price should remain bullish much higher into those higher time frame supply zones, there should be a lot of upside potential from this move. Okay, finally, we go even lower, so identifying and concentrating right in the region on the 10-minute time frame here as to where price is currently sitting. Very slight move lower after we were range bound for some time. This could be that distribution at the end of a small price cycle. We've moved lower. We've had a reaction to a supply zone. We are holding in that region. So obviously as the market's closed and that volatility has died, we've held around this region. Be interesting to see how it reacts come next week or come tomorrow when we see price tap in, whether enough supply is going to be introduced to continue and sustain a move lower. Obviously that would then work hand in hand with the idea that it's going to move lower. Okay, so you see the zone we have identified on that other picture is that buy to sell right there. Question is, will it sustain and move into these zones so we can get involved in those buy opportunities, whilst also in the short term, given that move happens, will we also see a potential to get involved in a shorter term sell on the off chance we do reverse and head down lower towards those 2 demand zones? So that is Euro USD. We can now jump straight into US dollar yen. Again, apologies that I am just having to take the approach of using screenshots. We are meant to be getting Wi-Fi installed tomorrow, so hopefully that will be the case and we can go back to looking through the live markets and analysing them correctly. As of right now, going on to US dollar yen on the 1-day time frame. Again, my bias has slightly changed for this because we were showing early signs, evident by the break of structure there, that we're getting ready for a move higher to come and target some of these supply zones. Now, these supply zones are still valid as unmitigated orders, and therefore when price approaches, we still want to be aware of their presence and aware of their relevance. Yet, as of right now, after misleading the public with that break of structure, we've headed lower, we've made that move to continue bearishness, but that wick tells us we've just tapped into this demand zone, which is going to be relevant because we need to see, is this demand zone going to force demand to take control in the market and therefore start heading higher, or are we just going to blow through? So what price does in this coming week around this region is going to tell us or provide a lot of information longer term as to what price wants to do. If we see the reversal, we could then see that price wants to now make its next impulse higher. If not, we see price fall through. We can then see pullbacks into some of these supply zones, find and sell opportunities much longer term. We'll go into the next photo, which now is coming down to the 2 hour, which is showing exactly what price is doing as we've entered this region, where we can see we were delivered that break of structure first. Not much structure was holding above that level. You see it was only really just a couple of wicks, so it wasn't the most clear break of structure in the world, but it was a move higher nonetheless. Liquidated the low. After that, we've come to liquidate the previous low, so obviously we know this is an impulse lower. If on the off chance price isn't showing us any signs that it wants to reverse from this region, there is another 2 supply zones in this region that price may want to pull back up to, mitigate the order, introduce enough supply to flip the S&D balance enough into supply's favor to then make that move lower and continue bearish much longer term. I think I have one final image to help us with this market. Yeah, and that is exactly what price is doing on the 15-minute time frame as we've tapped that demand zone. So we instantly see rejection. I've identified where the current protected swing lays. The reason why I've done that is so that we can understand that when that level gets broken, that's going to represent a fractal break to the upside. If that happens, we can start looking to get involved in buy positions. If not, and we hold the structure and we continue lower longer term, obviously that's going to be an indication that demand did not take control from the mitigation of this zone, and therefore we probably want to be on the sell side longer term. The final market here is going to be gold. Another pretty relevant one because of the fact that we've had a lot of high volume in these last 1-2 weeks. Now, we always wanted this market to go bullish. That was always our expectation. And it seems like price is continuing to do that. I do have this supply zone identified where I would like to see price come back up into, and we're hoping to see the mitigation of that order sustain then the next impulse lower longer term. So obviously if that does happen and we do see signs of a distribution in that region and we therefore subsequently find entries, that's a move we can hold for weeks, if not months to come. So I really like when the market's in these pivotal points because as we approach that zone, there's a lot of opportunity for us to be involved in the start of a major move in the market, which is obviously the best place we can be because we can load up on multiple positions, hold them longer term, and actually profit from an entire longer term move rather than just short term profits here and there. Now, as we've been trading up, price has been reacting pretty nicely to demand zones where we could have capitalized if we have a look. We see this is the major zone that I had identified in the last image. Looking more fractally, however, we see that as price was trading up, there was reactions to a few zones inside of here, even ones I've not identified. You know, there's a sell to buy there. Another entry could have been found in that region, again there, so on and so forth. So as we did continue higher and we did continue to trade bullish, there has been plenty of opportunities we could capitalize on, given we identified these zones as price was playing out, given that we were waiting and then subsequently waited for that entry confirmation when price tapped in. I believe I have one final image just to look at price on the 15-minute, where again, we're zooming in, we're trying to identify if there's any short-term opportunities, and that would be right here. If we had to guesstimate, maybe around the 1904 region where this demand zone lays. If we see a slight pullback at all on market open in this coming week, I'd like to see how price reacts to this. Therefore, seeing if we can get involved in a short-term buy position because we do want to be looking to capitalize on the current momentum on the buy side with the bulls, because we can see from the first picture on the 1-day time frame, which we can quickly swing back to, the moves over the last 2 days at least, we see a lot of high volume, but even over the last week, 2 weeks, the amount that price has moved is crazy. If we quickly just count those, okay, so down here represents about the 2-week mark. We can see that down at this level, we're probably looking at around 1790, we're holding at about 1920 right now, so that's 300 pips of movement, a very large movement within 2 weeks. So given that that momentum holds, if we can get involved on the lower time frames, on this image once again, in order to capitalize, we know that we can get involved, and that current momentum that the market is holding should allow us to profit quickly in a smaller time frame, with the expectation that we're going to follow our original bias once again. The price is going to continue trading bullish at least to this zone. Obviously, we'd look to then partial or at least manage our trade when that does happen. See if there's a reversal. If not, this market could continue bullish for a very, very long time. Therefore, if we can edge in on the positions now, we could be looking to profit longer term. So that is pretty much going to conclude the analysis that I have for everyone today. Unfortunately, again, it's not a case of me navigating the market. It has to be screenshots until next week when the Wi-Fi is up and sorted and we can go back to normal, giving some better insights. Hopefully you still understand and can depict the overall message, the overall bias. But nonetheless, thank you everyone for watching this week, and we'll see you next Sunday when we're providing you with some more analysis.